Okay, let's get going. Blended Family Nation, USABFA. Here we go. Let's get started now. Hello again, Blended Family Nation. Welcome back. Every week we bring you experts and programs and encouragement and hope and resources. But today is a very special interview, a very special day, because today, September 16th, is National Stepfamily Day. And I have with me, I'm excited and honored to have with me a longtime friend who I've cheered on and been thankful for, Christy Borgeld. Christy, welcome. It's great to have you here today. Folks, all across America today, people are just going about their business. They may not even realize that today is National Stepfamily Day, that Christy started in 1997, and she's going to tell us a little bit about that story. But across America, we'll touch on it a little bit later, but 29 million households are impacted and lives. And when you add the children in those households and you add the grandparents, because if you think about it, there are grandparents out there that are engaged in a blended family, step family, or even a single parent environment. When you add those grandparents, that's about 70 million grandparents. When you add the children and the parents and the former spouses, we're talking about 250 plus million souls in America are touched every week by some of the dynamics and challenges and joys that take place in step families. So let's get right to it. Christy, so good to have you. Gosh, I've known you for a long time. Had a previous radio program many years ago, and you were guests on that multiple times. Today is a day you created. I mean, it's National Stepfamily Day, September 16th. You created this in 1997. If you would, just maybe take us back to that. What in your heart leaped up and said, I need to do this, and tell us your story.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you, Dan, for having me, and thank you for what you do and all the support. I appreciate our friendship through the years as well. In 1990, my husband and I got married in 1992. Things went good for a few years, and then in about 1996, I started hearing things, "You're not my mom," and so I went on the internet to look for some support, which there wasn't a lot. There were a few good books out there, but not a lot of information at that time. So I kind of followed Anna Jarvis, who's the founder of Mother's Day, and I contacted my governor and asked for some support on how I would get a day proclaimed to bring the cause to the forefront. And that's how it all started. And that first year, 25 states proclaimed. And then as years went on, I couldn't always get a proclamation in other states because I didn't live there. So then I would have to petition the House or the Senate of the state to do a resolution. So those are the only two ways you can get a resolution, is through the governor or a proclamation through the governor, and a Senate or the House do a resolution, or a presidential proclamation. That way it's covered all the way through. And then as time went on, I began to work with the White House on language to the Mother's Day and Father's Day proclamations to include biological, adopted, foster, and step, with the Mother's Day and Father's Day proclamation to include all parents on there. So that was a thrill. President Clinton, President Bush, and President Obama honored those requests. So that was a big thrill to work with them.
Yeah, gosh, that had to be. You know, as we've talked over the years, to modern day, we all have our phones, and I can call anywhere in the world. I can even call internationally at no charge. But in 1997, that capability wasn't there, and so tell us about contacting some of these states. You invested not only your heart and soul and passion, but a lot of dollars. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, back then, not everybody had emails either. I mean, today we just email, and, So I would have to fax. And back then, we didn't have free long distance. So I was dealing with the 50 states, and I began to fax all around the United States. And in the month of June, July, and August, each of those months would be between $600 to $800 a month in long distance charges, which we paid. You know, the passion was there to do what we had to do. Eventually, the fax, you know, I didn't have to fax anymore, and pretty soon it became free long distance. That made financially to get this on the ground a lot easier once that free long distance came into play. But for quite a few years, the investment was made for the passion to have it proclaimed.
Yeah, gosh, I just can't imagine. And there's probably a lot of our viewers here watching this and hearing this. They go, fax machine, boy, those two, they must be out there, huh? We're just seasoned, okay? We're not old, we're seasoned, and we've been around, so we've seen fax
Yep.
machines for probably anybody under the age of 35. They're going, wow. So it was
Yeah.
a long time ago, and here we are in our 28th year at National Stepfamily Day that you created. And I know other organizations, many that we're working with at USABFA, that you've been engaged with and cheering you on. It's just, it's something, again, probably through this video. And I would ask and encourage, if you are watching this and you know somebody that is in a blended family, a step family, that you should just forward this on your social media. Hey, just forward it. Just, you know how to forward things. Forward this interview, because they get to see the person who created their day. It's your day in America. If you're in that
Yeah.
blended family, it's your day. And Christy Borgeld is the founder of this day. So, Christy, let me um, ask you this. Can you imagine, as you've worked on this over the years, the number of people? How many organizations have you worked with? I'm very thankful you're involved, encouraging and supporting USA BFA, because we're trying to give encouragement and hope and resources and tips and interviews. And weekly, we're encouraging, not just come to us, but we're weekly encouraging people with information. There's, as I said earlier, 29 million households, grandparents out there. Sometimes they don't know what to do. Well, my daughter married this young man and he's got a couple kids, or my son
Right.
married this woman, she's got children. What do I do? And that's kind of what we help with. But they're all part of this day. They're all part of National Step Family Day that you created. Over the years, how many people or organizations you think have reached out and said, hooray, good job? Sometimes probably not enough, but tell us if you got any powerful stories or anything that might encourage.
We worked with the Sept Family Foundation out of New York, and it was having conference calls and being able to work with the psychiatrists and attorneys that during these conference calls to really get down to the nuts and bolts of having these families work. I want to say to Dan that Step Family Day isn't just for the families that merged great and we're celebrating, we're doing activities today or this weekend. It is also for the families that are struggling.
Yeah.
The families that are having problems. We've got young step families where you've got a little bit more control with the children, and then you've got step families where the children become adults. And I've noticed through the 28 years that all these families need to be seen and heard, and to know that we're there for them, and to give them the resources that they need, such as your organization that we're going to be working with, so that we can help these families. This is exactly what I wanted and envisioned, that the help would be there, to be able to go to USA BFA and say, hey, I can type in a search question, or I can reach out, and what can we do? And
Yeah.
that vision comes.
Isn't that the truth? Because just as you experience, sometimes when there's kind of a honeymoon period and when you get remarried with children and everything's going good, and there's probably viewers right now that are going, we don't have any problems. I don't know what are they talking about. And I smile and say, great for you.
Right.
Traditionally, there will come a day, as depending on just normal parenting, children's ages and outside influences, things that might happen at school or their other biological parents. We don't like to use the term the ex-spouse, but from their house there could be impact. There's just so many areas that can impact what takes place, and so there will be a day. Hooray if you can go through the whole season of getting those children launched into life. And many people have. I have a good friend that we work with on some personality assessments. He's been in a blended family and has done great. And really, we only use the term step and blended because in most of them, in my house, we just say we're a family. And I think most people say, hey, we're a family. But yet, technically, we're in that arena. And as you said, there are going to be people struggling. And that's why we exist, is to encourage and support those who are going through dynamics that take place. So, over the years, I've been engaged in this, gosh, since not as long as you, but in trying to encourage and support families since 2005. So about in 2006, almost 20 years. And I've seen a lot of the things that take place. In your mind, is there any areas where you think as a nation we could issues that need to be looked at? Because you're the pro.
Yeah. School. I remember my stepson was able to make his mom a Christmas gift, or excuse me, a Mother's Day gift. And, he made two, one for me, one for him. And it really dawned on me, these kids, I mean, they're not equipped with the emotions. They didn't ask to be put into a step family. And I think like with the schools and doctors' offices, anything like that, that really can help merge what these families are going to and have a bigger understanding that it's tough on the kids. That was one of the biggest reasons, Dan, why I started Step Family Day, was for the children. So, and the adults too, like you said, you made a good assessment at the very beginning when you got grandparents, aunts, uncles, exes. There is so much entailed into the step family, but my biggest thing would be the schools. I'm really big on getting the schools. If you need to, conferences, whatever it takes to have that kid feel comfortable and not alienated that he has a mom and a stepmom. I saw what my kid went through, and I would love to see that changed. And another thing about the future would be the Census Bureau, Dan. In 2000, we did have our hands to, when they did the census, to put step families, on the ballot, so to speak, so that we could get a general idea of how many step families are here, what we need for grants and funding to help these families, and we need numbers for that. And that data, again, is outdated. So that is one thing I really want to do, is get in touch with the Census Bureau to get that change for the next census.
Yes, and advocating for blended families is something that USABFA is going to do, because there's a lot of things nationally and in each and every state, and we have state chapters, regional directors that are being formed along the way. So if you're someone out there, have a heart and a passion and the time to be engaged, please reach out to me at USABFA. But the census, because a lot of people don't recognize the gigantic, it is the largest family demographic in America. I still do, people may know I've written a couple books, The Winsome Way, and it's a positive, encouraging. And sometimes when I will give a talk, I may have 500 or 800, 1,000 people. I'll talk about family life, and I'll say, hey, just let me ask a question. If you're in this audience and either you or your parents, or maybe if you're older, your children have been touched by their single parent or a step family environment, would you raise your hand? And all of a sudden, you look, and I go, folks, look around. And I said, that's the impact, and that's why I'm trying to do what I'm going to do. Now let me get back to my winsome message, but I'm also writing a book, The Winsome Family, so that'll tie into some of this. But that being said, again, encourage anybody watching this, if you know somebody in this environment, please share. Tell them to look up the You'll see the link here for National Stepfamily Day and how to get a hold of Christy, how to get a hold of USABFA. But please share this because Christy cares. I care. We've been involved in this in a long time. Our children are grown, but that still doesn't mean that we don't have a heart and passion for what you or someone you love is going through. And with that, gosh, Christy, thank you so much for, number one, starting this day. And I just want you to know that, all across America, if you're watching this, we should all stand up and say, hey, he gave us our day. And that's a neat thing. Anything you want to share as we head off here?
Well, I'll be joining with you. So Jim and I will be starting a path with USABFA. So we're looking forward to that, to see what we can do from there. So
yes, I'm honored that you and Jim are going to be board members. Excited about that because I am simply just kind of like the drum major. If you've ever been in band, you got the trumpets and the drum line and the flutes and the all the things, and I'm just trying to bring together the greatest band to serve and play beautiful music for families across America, and you're a part of that. I'm not the solution, but we have great solutions at USABFA, and we want to share them. And so folks would go to usabfa.com, check that out. With that, again, I'll say, Christy, thank you so much. America, we're with you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.
And thanks for tuning in. Come back tomorrow, the next day, and each and every week, as we have literally every week 8 to 10 new, fresh interviews, many with live question and answer sessions just for you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a member of USABFA. Tell your friends, share this, and tell them you can get this information too.